It's time for The Verdict. The Verdict is a lively discussion of current events and legal issues pertinent to Oklahomans. The Verdict is hosted by Kent Meyers. It's time for The Verdict.
Good morning, I'm Kent Meyers, and welcome to The Verdict. We're pleased you would give us some time on your Sunday morning to let us bring to you another show that we think you'll be interested in. As a matter of fact, this is show number 148. Now, there's a reason I will be disclosing to you at the end of the show, a little teaser to keep you tuned in and have you not change the dial. There's a reason I'm mentioning now that it's 148, and we have been on now almost 3 years, and we continue to motor on week after week with what we think are interesting subjects and fascinating guests, and today is no different. But today we're going to be talking about a 100-year-old Oklahoma City newspaper. And no, I don't mean the Oklahoman. I mean the Journal-Record. We're going to meet the editor and publisher of the Journal-Record, Mary Malone. When we come back, thank you for joining us so far on The Verdict. We'll see you in just a minute. Welcome back. Today we're pleased to have Mary Malone, the editor and publisher of the Oklahoma Journal, join us as our guest, and I want to now introduce you to Mary Malone. Mary is an Oklahoman since 1975. She is the first woman publisher of the and editor of the Journal-Record. She's an OU graduate in journalism in 1983. She's engaged in a wide variety of civic and business activities here in Oklahoma City. And Mary, we're really pleased that you would join us for your first, but I hope not last, visit to The Verdict.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate it.
And I will incidentally mention that, as you viewers notice, when the show opens, the Journal-Record is a sponsor of our show, and we're happy about that and proud about that. Mary, the Journal-Record's been called a business newspaper. What does that designate? What's that mean?
Well, it really means that we have a niche, and we are very true to our mission and to our niche, and our niche is business news. In addition to business news, we also have legal notice advertising in the back of our paper. We're the official legal notice publication for Oklahoma County, and that's been a huge part of our history. In fact, 100 years ago, that's how the paper started. It was all public notice advertising. We have added local business news and are really proud of the fact that we are the only daily business newspaper in the state of Oklahoma.
Well, let me just hold up for our viewers to see. This is the Journal-Record, folks. This is what it looks like. It's a very colorful newspaper packed with interesting information. What about your readership? Who reads the Journal-Record?
You know, I think our readership is very much in line with the viewership of The Verdict. We have a business and professional readership. Generally, these are the top level managers and executives in companies, but from all different industries. Our highest demographic industry-wise is the legal profession, but we also reach deeply into banking and finance and healthcare and government and really all sectors.
Well, how far do you distribute your newspaper? Is it just Oklahoma City?
It's not just Oklahoma City. The primary crux of our circulation is in the metropolitan area, the 6-county area, but we do have about 3% of our circulation in Tulsa County. We have really a lot of people who have retired and sadly left our state that still subscribe to the Journal-Record because they want to be up to date on what's going on in our business community.
Well, what days do you publish?
Monday through Friday.
No big Sunday issue.
No big Sunday issue. Yeah. We're covering the news kind of when it's happening in the business community.
What size staff do you have?
We have 50 employees.
And how many of them are engaged in the daily gathering of the news?
On our editorial staff, we have about 8 people, and we've got a full press shop. So we not only collect the information, lay it out, design it, get it ready. We go to the press and we actually print it ourselves also.
And your principal location is downtown Oklahoma City?
Downtown Oklahoma City, yes.
How in the world, I've often wondered this about newspapers and television news, how do they continue to do it day after day, finding something that is newsworthy and making sure they have the facts right and getting it printed, and then the next day they got to start all over again?
It is kind of a miracle, really, because we start every day with, like an artist, with a blank piece of paper. It's not canvas, it's newsprint, but there's nothing on it every morning. And I've got a great group of reporters and editorial staff that is inundated with information. So really it's not that we ever have to hunt for things, it's really that we have more than we can ever print and have to make the choices about what our readers want and need to know about. So that's really the challenge.
I can see how it would be taxing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you distribute your newspapers?
Primarily through the mail. It's a mail subscription newspaper. We do have some office delivery in downtown area specifically, in a few northwest quadrants, and also at the Capitol. We do hand delivery, but the rest is through the mail. And we've got a pretty good deal with the post office where they almost always guarantee same day delivery.
When you start your presses on a particular day at number 1, how high does the number go? How many do you print every day?
We print about 6,000 Journal Record newspapers a day. Important to note, our readership is really closer to 15 to 18,000 a day, because the higher level managers subscribe to the paper and then they share it. So I think, for example, Crow and Dunleavy, I know you have a few subscriptions, but I think people pass them along. Wish every one of them would buy a subscription, but that's really the nature of the game. Talk to them. Check on that for me.
Let me ask you something about a quote that comes from Joseph Pulitzer, I guess, of the Pulitzer Prizes. He said, "Newspapers should have no friends." That doesn't sound very enticing.
It doesn't sound friendly, does it?
It doesn't. Is that true? And if so, why?
Well, I think his point, I can't speak for him, but I think his point that's relevant to us is that we really have two sets of customers. We have our readership customers who buy the subscriptions. We have our advertising customers. Many of them are the same, but two different pieces of the pie. We have to take care of our advertising customers. We have to, and that's foremost. However, not to the exclusion of the credibility of the content of the paper. So we have to walk a fine line between taking care of advertisers who may want something, may want coverage because they're spending money with us. We won't do that. We have to stick to our guns and remain true to what our mission is, which is disseminated information. And the reason we do that is that's ultimately better for the advertisers, because we maintain our credibility. And without our credibility, we're nothing. So I think that's what he meant.
I've been a subscriber for a number of years, and I have noticed that you basically have everything in this newspaper that one could want. You have news, weather, sports when it's timely. You have sports. Max Nichols writes things for you. You have editorial commentary. You have things on the stock market in addition to the legal notices. Is it pretty difficult to juggle all those things and make sure they all get in with just a staff of 50?
It takes a lot of planning, and that's really what it's all about. And we try to stay in tune with what our readers want. We have focus sections in our paper that are pretty standard, monthly focus sections on different industries. So we may not cover every industry every day, but we will at least do it regularly, and we plan and we listen.
Well, let me jump in here and get us to a break. As Mick Cornett often says, we're visiting with Mary Malone, the editor and publisher of the Journal Record newspaper, and we'll be back in just a minute. And welcome back to The Verdict. We're visiting today with Mary Malone, the editor and publisher of the Journal-Record newspaper, the other newspaper in Oklahoma City that's 100 years old and is published on a daily basis. Mary, you have let us know that you're the first woman editor and publisher of the Journal-Record and have been for 3 years. What changes have you made since you've occupied these positions?
Well, certainly I've focused a lot internally on developing my team, and we've come a long way and really have a great group of people that I work with. Also, we've worked on some layout, and you mentioned that our paper was colorful. It has become more colorful over the last few years, and we're working constantly to develop layout and design that's attractive. Also, we've added some special publications, really always trying to focus on the niche that our readers are looking for.
How'd you decide personally to get involved in journalism to start with, and then in the newspaper end of it?
You know, I have probably not a great story because I didn't grow up knowing that I wanted to be in newspaper publishing. I was fortunate enough to find my way here, and I started with the Journal-Record 13 years ago, actually, as an advertising account executive. And we had different owners then, but sold advertising for a few years, then became advertising director and associate publisher, and then publisher. I work for a great company.
So you're enjoying the experience?
Absolutely. I have the best job in the world.
We have talked on a number of other shows about women's position in society, women in the law, women in medicine, and so on. But we've not spoken about women in the newspaper business. Are editors and publishers rather rare being women?
I think, like so many other industries, it's been slow to come. But I read an article not long ago in Editor and Publisher talking about the increase in women publishers across the country in general interest and in niche publications. So it's changing. It's slow to change.
Well, you're ready for it to change.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about some things that the Journal-Record does other than just publish a newspaper. I know that you publish a number of other publications, and I want to take some time today to discuss those. I want to hold up now something that is widely circulated around our place. It's called the Book of Lists. This is the 2004 version of the Journal-Record's Oklahoma City Book of Lists. What is this? What's in here? Lists of what?
Lists of everything and anything you can imagine. We focus on virtually every industry category, and what we do is develop kind of a who's who list, ranking companies, public, private, all types of industries, ranking them by number of employees, by revenue, by number of volunteers, any number of ways that we rank them, and we compile them all. We're working on this research year-round, compiled them all at the end of the year into the Book of Lists. This is something that we've done for 16 years, and it's about tripled in size since I've been involved with the newspaper.
Well, we don't have a category for locally produced TV shows. We're going to have to think about adding that to the category.
We need that list.
Yeah, it won't be a long list for obvious reasons.
Some can be short lists, and that's okay.
You're also involved in something called the Woman of the Year project. What is that?
And I'm glad you asked me about that, Ken. This is a program that's really near and dear to my heart, and I've watched it grow and flourish and really become established as a very prestigious event. It is statewide. We solicit nominations for top women across the state. Then we narrow those down into a group called 50 Making a Difference. And these women are, we look for professional achievement certainly, but also community leadership and involvement. And we honor them in a publication and also at a huge black tie gala every September.
Well, I'm holding up the Woman of the Year publication that you publish annually, I guess. And you honor a different woman every year.
Yes, we do.
But have a lot of applicants and a lot of people make the...
Literally hundreds of nominations come through. They're narrowed down to 50, and then at this event we announce an overall Woman of the Year every year.
Now, you also have a program called Innovator of the Year. What is that?
Innovator of the Year is kind of on the same lines as Woman of the Year. We solicit nominations from across the state on businesses and you're upside down.
Ha! Locally produced
Okay.
TV show.
Yeah. We're looking to honor businesses who are doing innovative things. It's really that simple. It could be a product, a service, anything unique and interesting. We want to honor innovation in our state, and it's a wonderful way to recognize some companies that may not be getting that recognition otherwise.
Recognition for doing something different.
Right.
You also publish a guidebook for high school students and recent graduates of high school, do you
Yes,
not?
yes.
Choices?
Choices, a guide to life after high school. And I've been asked, why does the business paper do a publication for high school students? And I think my answer is clearly that's the future. That's the future of our business community, and giving them some ideas for what they can do to be trained and educated in Oklahoma is very important.
Let's talk about your the work that you do in promoting information about what's going on in the legislature. Your legislative report. What's that about?
And that's called the Journal Record Legislative Report. And I tell you that the online version of our legislative tracking service is second to none. We have all kinds of people, lobbyists, state agencies, and major industries like oil and gas and healthcare that really need to follow bills very closely, every minute, real time, and we allow them to do that.
And we've got a little Palm Pilot here, which I guess is related to your legislative report.
It is.
How does it relate?
We offer a service with our online subscriptions it's called alert paging. So if there is someone that needs to be contacted immediately, if there is a change with any bill that they are following, we will page them so they have real-time access to any changes that are going on.
What's Tinker Takeoff?
Well, Tinker Takeoff is it is the official weekly newspaper of Tinker Air Force Base. And the Journal Record Publishing Company has actually had the contract with Tinker for more than 50 years to produce this newspaper. And it is a great audience. You know, you don't see Tinker Takeoffs in newsstands or on the street because it is for and about employees of Tinker Air Force Base. And we're very proud to have that partnership.
Well, we're very proud to have had you on the show today. Thank you very much. You're very busy, obviously, and we appreciate you giving us your time. Mary Malone, thanks. We'll be back in just a second. Welcome back. Today we were pleased to have Mary Malone, the editor and publisher of the Journal Record newspaper, join us. The Journal Record is a business newspaper that's published in Oklahoma City and widely accepted as being not only accurate but containing an awful lot of good information. I recommend it to you. We're pleased Mary Malone could join us, and we hope you'll take a look at the Journal Record when you get a chance. Next week, we're going to have Dr. James Crutcher join us. Dr. Crutcher is the relatively new, at least since November, Commissioner of Health in the state of Oklahoma. He's going to join us and talk to us about some of the pressing health problems that Oklahomans are facing and what the state of Oklahoma plans to do about it. There will be discussions about perhaps increasing the cigarette tax to deal with youth teen smoking and trying to control it. But we'd like to know what you want to see. So please join us on our website, theverdict.tv. Tell us what you'd like to see, what you would with whom you'd like to have us visit, and we'll try to accommodate you. We're always glad to see you on Sunday morning, and remember, go Heritage Hall Lady Chargers. For Kent Meyers and the staff of The Verdict, see you next Sunday.